I thought that was when they made that comment.
The only thing I bought here so far is the 2-pound package of organic dried dates for the city. And what I do is that I told some of the,
Hello, are we ready to start? Yeah, 7:30, time to go. So welcome, good evening everybody, and also tonight is Rosh Chodesh. Rosh Chodesh means the new month. We are in the new month of Kislev. It's tomorrow and Friday. Kislev is a very special month. After a dry month of Cheshvan, which there was no holidays, we are entering Kislev, which is the major holiday of Hanukkah, later in the end of the month. And at the same time, Kislev is also going to have a bunch of Hasidic holidays. Without asking, you see what's going on over here?
I'm talking.
You go away for a week, that's what happens? Without, so you have the month of Kislev also has first of all the holiday of Hanukkah, which is going to take place later. The 25th day of Kislev is when it starts. And then we are having a number of Hasidic holidays, with the original Hasidic holiday of the 19th of Kislev, celebrating the liberation of the first Chabad Rebbe, Reb Shner Zalman, who was liberated from Zarish prison, known by Hasidim as the Rosh Hashanah for Hasidism, the New Year's for Hasidim. And there were many other great things which happened. Even his son and successor, the Mittler Rebbe, Reb Dov Ber, whose yahrzeit and birthday is in the month of Kislev. The 10th of Kislev, was also liberated from jail in the 9th of Kislev. And our Rebbe, the Lubavitcher Rebbe, got married on the 14th of Kislev. This year will mark the 90th anniversary of the Rebbe's marriage to Rebbetzin Chayemushka, which took place in the year 1928 in Warsaw. Here's where they got married. Even though they were both Russian citizens, but the Rebbe's wife, father, which was the previous Lubavitcher Rebbe with the name of Rav Yosef Yitzchak, was sent out of Russia a year earlier, in 1927, after Simchas Torah. He had to move out of Russia. They did not let him stay. And when he left, he took with him his daughter, and also his daughter's Chatan. The Rebbe was then engaged to the previous Rebbe's daughter, Chaimushka. So he took him out as a future husband to his daughter. But the Rebbe's parents, who were living in Yekaterinoslav, in the Dnepropetrovsk, they could not make it out. The Russians did not let them out. They didn't even get to the wedding of their own son, which was in Warsaw. So this is going to be on the 14th of Kislev. So great things happened. I'm sure anybody has a birthday the month of Kislev in this room?
Yeah.
Who?
Wow. I mean, it's not my Hebrew birthday, but...
So tomorrow you have to come to Shul, 7 o'clock in the morning, in honor of Rosh Chodesh also.
No, but it's not a Hebrew birthday. My Hebrew birthday is Yud Chet B'Cheshvan.
Very good. Everybody has a birthday, should have a happy birthday. Anyone who has an anniversary, if they have happy anniversary. Anybody who was released of jail, we're very happy for your release. Okay. But tonight we are going to speak about the Parsha again. We are in the Parsha of Toldot. This number of weeks that we are in the book of Bereshit, every week we join some great events, some unbelievable stories which describes and discusses the development of the Jewish people into a nation, to the people we are. our grandfather was born in this week's Parsha. Which one?
Isaac.
Who?
Isaac.
Isaac was born already last week. 2 weeks ago. Jacob was born in this week's Parsha.
Who named Jacob?
Isaac and his wife Rivka gave birth on the age of 60, which, as you see on page 124, this is the beginning of Parshas Toldot. The Torah tells us that Yitzchak got married to Rivka. Yitzchak was 40 years old. Vayehi Yitzchak ben 40 shana. He was 40 years old. And she became pregnant only 20 years later.
She's 23.
20 years on page 124.
That would have made her, what, 23?
Doesn't say in the Parsha here.
According to, well, no, it doesn't say there, but according to Midrash, she was
Okay.
3 years old when she came and he was 40.
Okay. So you're going to give a class on that next time when I'm not here, okay? So now she gives birth to the two children known as Yaakov and Esav, like it says on verse 26. Yitzchak ben Shishim Shana beled Esav. Isaac was 60 years old when she gave birth to them. The story of Jacob and Esau is the famous story of two brothers coming from the same parents, but each one taking a different direction. Their different direction was not only when they grew, like it says on verse 27, Vayigdelu haneorim, and the lads grew up, Vayehi Esav ish yodea tzayid ish sadeh, and Esau became one who knows hunting, a man of the field. But Yaakov ish tam yoshev olim. But Jacob was an awesome man, dwelling in the tents. The tents is referring, as Rashi says, in the tents of Shem and Aver. These was like academies, yeshivos, batei midrash, which they spend their time learning. So we see that as they grew, which according to Rashi, again, this is in the age of 13. So each one took a different path, but not only that, even prior to it, while being in their mother's womb, they already split directions. As we see in the previous page, on verse 22, Vayizrotzetzu abonim bekirbo, and the children agitated within here, they were quarreling, they were fighting in her stomach, and when she came to find out what's going on, what kind of weird pregnancy it is, she was told that yes, two nations are in your womb, two regimes from your inside shall be separated. Shnei goyim bebitneich, ushnei leumim mime'ayich iparedu. The story of Yaakov and Esav that we are dealing with that till today, including today, very day. This Parsha goes in to a story which became one of the most incredible esoteric stories of the development of the Jewish people. And this is where the firstborn Esav, who now sold his rights to his brother Yaakov, is somehow favored by his father Yitzchak. Yitzchak is blind. At the point that the story that we are going to discuss tonight, the point in his life the story is taking, Yitzchak is 123 years old. He's ready to celebrate his birthday. What happens to Yitzchak when he's 123? The Talmud says that when one reaches an age 5 years to where his parents passed away, he should start, let's put it nicely, take life a little more serious. He might have to get ready for finals. Jerry's laughing. You know what I mean, right? Gotta get ready for finals. If his mother passed away in the age of 127, minus 5 years, so now he's 123, he knows that's it. You gotta take life serious. I gotta see what am I ready to share with my family and what is going to be the legacy I'm leaving with my family. He arranges himself a birthday party. He's inviting his son, who is at that point his favorite son, so to speak, Esav, to arrange him a beautiful meal, which, as the commentaries say, while he will eat the meal, he will be inspired with the inspiration of blessing. Rivka is outside of his room, inside the kitchen, listening to what her husband is telling her son Esav. And she does not like it. She does not want her son Esav to be the one blessed and not the one who deserves the blessing, which this is obviously Yaakov. So she creates a whole conspiracy of having Yaakov run out and bring back the items needed to prepare the delicacies that Yitzchak likes, which who knows better than Rivka how to prepare it in the best way for her husband's taste. Not only that, she knows that her husband, who at that point was blind, might put his hands over Esav, and he still remembers the difference that the one was very, very hairy, and one was very smooth on his skin. Yaakov did not have hair, and Esav had a lot of hair. So she also puts him on a special garment which has hair, so you should feel like Esav. And as the Medrash brings, that was the garment which belonged to Nimrod, who was hunting animals, and he knew how to dress up to look like an animal, so he should be able to behave like an animal in the place of the animals. So this is the type of garment that now is she taking out of the closet belonging to Nimrod, and his son from time to time likes to put it on, Esav, and she gives it now to Yaakov to be the one wearing it. In order to do what? To cheat on her husband. In order to lie, so to speak, to her husband, or Yaakov to his father, so he should be able to get out the blessings which he wants him to get. And the big question that I'm sure everybody is asking to himself is, why is that a way? Why is that the way to receive such brachot? There's no other way but rather to lie. What would have been if Rivka would have gone over to her husband Yitzchak and say, Yitzchak, my tire, my dear son Yitzchak, husband Yitzchak, I see that you're ready to give a bracha. It's your birthday, 123 years. I want to tell you, the bracha should be given to the son. I'm telling you, it's Yaakov. Esav is not a candidate for such blessings. Tell him the truth. You don't want to hurt him, tell him half of truth. Say it in a nice way. Why are you allowing yourself to lie to your husband and have your son lie to his father, which can even be worse. Lying? You know what lying? They say a joke. It's not a joke. That once a rabbi in a synagogue made an announcement on Shabbos. And he says that next Shabbos I'm going to discuss the importance of saying the truth and the terrible transgression of speaking lies. I want you to be prepared. That's going to be the topic of next week's sermon. But in order to do it right, and in order to be able to discuss everything in that topic, and you should be ready and understand it clearly, you all need to study chapter 28 in the book of Leviticus. And you're going to be able to understand my discussion. Great. Comes next Shabbos comes along, the shul is filled with people, and the rabbi gave them had a notice what's going to be the topic, and everyone is excited. We're going to hear a lecture, a sermon about speaking the truth. And the rabbi says, remember last week I told you to prepare, I gave you the sources. Everybody in this room who studied chapter 28 in Leviticus, please raise your hand. And except David Schneider and Jerry Gass, everybody raises their hand. With the exception, I mean, of everyone who's in this room. There are samples. So imagine we have a congregation of 100 people, but only you guys did not raise your hand. And the rabbi looks on the 80% of the shul and he says, wow, you all studied chapter 28 in Leviticus. There is no such a chapter in Leviticus. Okay? And now I can speak about telling the truth. When it comes to saying the truth, the Torah says, so don't tell anybody, we're going to do the test this week. When it comes to speak about truth, that's one verse in the Torah, which is the only place the Torah uses such a term, not used in any other prohibition. It's a lot of times we have in the Torah verses which say, don't do this, don't do that. Don't speak Lashon Hara, don't hate your fellow, don't revenge, and onward and onward and onward. Then when it comes to saying a lie, what does the Torah say? What's the verse? So one verse is, do not lie. In what's it called? In the book of Leviticus,
Chapter 20.
in chapter 19, verse 11, it says, "Lo teshakru." You should not lie. Right? You should not lie, which is fine. This we find. But then there's another verse. And what does the verse say?
Chapter 19,
No, this is in chapter 19, yeah. Chapter 19, verse 12.
verse 11.
Verse 11.
What do you have in verse 11, right? V'lo teshakru. But then there's another verse which talks about lying. What's the other verse?
Swearing falsely.
No.
Oh,
Midvar sheker tirchok. V'noki v'tzadik al taroig. Just a second. Just a second. Obviously the verse is going to run away from me now, but we're going to find it later. Anyway, the verse says, when it comes to lying, it says, Midvar sheker tirchok. From words of lie, you should distance yourself. What? Midvar sheker tirchok. From words of lie, you should what? You should distance yourself. It doesn't say regarding anything else in the Torah which is forbidden that you should create a distance, you should stay away from it. When it comes to lying, we know that lying is addicting. You start one, like do they say, to undo a lie, you have to do a lot, you have to say a lot of lies to undo one lie, right? They say that someone came to a rabbi and he told the rabbi that he was just released of jail for stealing. But he feels very addicted to stealing and he can't go over it. And he needs some help. The rabbi can give him some advice, what to do. The rabbi says, my best advice for you is you should not lie. Just always say the truth. And he said to himself, not to lie. What is that going to help me from not to steal? And he lives there a house and he goes by a store and he's really tempted to go into the store and take a piece of jewelry into his pocket because that's what he's used to. And he can't control himself and he really wants to do it. But then he says to himself, 1 second. If they're going to ask me if I stole it, what am I going to have to say? Yeah. I'm not able to lie, so how can I steal? And that's how he kept on protecting himself from all kinds of situations just because he took upon himself not to lie. Not to lie. And here, in this whole Parsha, is exactly the opposite. Take a look what's going on. Let's read a few verses. Turn to chapter 27. In this Parsha, what does it say? Vayomer Yaakov el Rivka. Imoy. Take a look on page 134, verse 11. Vayomer Yaakov el Rivka Imoy. Yaakov replied to Rebekah, his mother, Hey, Esav achi Isoyer, but my brother Esav is a hairy man. V'anoichi ish chalak, but I am a smooth-skinned man. Ulai misheni avi, perhaps my father will feel me. Ve'yoyisi be'einov ki mesa'ateya, and I shall be as a mocker in his eyes. He doesn't scared. I don't want to be a mocker. I don't want to look like a liar. Like a cheater. It's not me. What does his mother say? Don't worry. On me. And then he goes on and he comes into his father's house. And when the father says, how did you make it so fast? Who are you? On verse 18. Vayovay Elovi, Vayomer Avi. He comes to his father and says, Father, Dad. Vayomer Hineni. Mi ato beni? Who are you? What does he say? Vayomer Yaakov el Aviv, Anoichi Esav Chorecha. I am Esav, your firstborn. Asisi kasher dibarta eloi. I did exactly what you asked me to do. Hello? Yaakov. You are the man who the Torah describes before, Yaakov Ishtam. He was straight and smooth and clear. Matter of fact, the Talmud says that our patriarchs are called Yesharim. The book of Bereshit is called Sefer HaYashar. You know that? One of the names is Sefer HaYashar, the book of the straight. Why straight? The Talmud says because it talks about our patriarchs, and they acted very straight. So they deserve the title in Hebrew. What do you say straight? When you ask someone for directions, he wants to tell you to go straight in Israel. What do you say? Yashar, 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 right? So the whole book is called Sefer Yesharim because it's dealing with the straight, honest, perfect people. Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. Titein emes leYaakov. Don't we say it in davening? Titein emes leYaakov. Give to your children the truth of Yaakov. Chesed leAvram. And the kindness which comes from Avram. So what is the attribute of Yaakov? How do we recognize Yaakov between the other three, among the three patriarchs, between Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov? Avram is recognized for his what? For his acts of kindness. Yaakov is recognized with what? For his truthfulness. Titein emes leYaakov. That's what the Pasuk says. We're asking God, give us of Yaakov's truth. So Yaakov, who is Mr. Truth, Yaakov, who is the minister of Emes, right, comes here in this week's Parsha and tricks his father, following his mother's advice. Furthermore, when Esav comes on, and Yaakov is saying, Ato zebni Esav, on verse 25, you are the son Esav? He says, yes, I am, on verse 24. And what does his father tell him? What does his father tell him? On verse 32, Mi Ato, who are you? I said, I am Esav, your firstborn. And what does he say? How can it be? Somebody was already here. You were already here. I gave you the blessings. And what does his father say on verse 35? Vayomer, and Yaakov says, Bo chicha b'mirma. In English it translates, your brother came with cleverness. Mirma is not cleverness. Mirma means crookedness. Crooked. A crook. That's what mirma means. In English, they translate with cleverness because Rashi says that Unkelus translates mirma means with cleverness. I guess Rashi understood, which we are trying to understand tonight, that the act of crookedness that Yaakov behaved was actually an act of cleverness. It's called Chochmah. Mirma, which usually mirma is translated trickiness, is now explained as being Chochmah, cleverness. That's the way you should have behaved. And everybody who reads this psukim, and everybody who reads these verses, is going and begging this question, Hello, Yaakov, Ishtam, Yosheva Alim, a man who was dwelling in the tents of Shem and Abel. The Torah says, Tam. And the main question is, why did he have to go in such a way? What did be wrong? Or Rivka telling her father the truth. Scared to say the truth? What are you going to lose? Modna Maisa. Strange story. No? I want to talk for a minute only. A few sources in the Talmud discussing the importance of saying the truth and not to lie. And what kind of results you get by not speaking the truth. First of all, in the Medrash, it says that actually that trickishness that Yaakov behaved cost him a price later in life. He was tricked. He was tricked by his own wedding night. When he gets up the next day, after spending a whole night, and his Kala, his bride, pretends to be Rachel. And you can imagine when he gets up, hello, what's going on over here? This is not the wife I was marrying. And the Medrash actually says that Yaakov was asking here, Lomori misani, why did you trick me? And then he heard a voice saying, you tricked your brother, your father, out of the blessings. So that's what you're getting now, measure for measure. Later, when he suffered this whole issue of his kids, when they went and destroyed the city of Shem, and Yaakov was very upset, and they also went in a so-called tricky way, convincing them to circumcise themselves, waiting for them to be in pain, and then taking their lives. And Yaakov is getting, what did you guys do? He was very agitated with their action, right? And again, a voice in him said, you tricked your father, you're getting it back. To act tricky in that matter, it ends up in consequences in his own life. The Gemara actually says a story. The Gemara says that there was Rav, the great Talmudic sage Rav. He had a wife which kept on, making his life difficult. That's the kind of wife he had. Nebuch. And the Gemara says an example. Everything he asked, she would actually do the opposite. So when he asked for lentils, she gave him a plate of hummus. When he asked for hummus, she gave him a plate of lentils. No. Once, he sent his son, tell mommy to bring me a plate of lentils. The son goes to his mother, and he says, Dad says that he wants a plate of hummus. Oh, he wants hummus? Here you go. A plate of lentils. The son brings back the lentils, and Rav, this is the great Talmudic sage Rav, is all surprised. Uh-oh, my wife doesn't feel good. Something is wrong. She gave me what I asked for. Is she okay? What's going on? He never thought about tricking her. In his life, it's another part of the story. In his reality, if that's the wife I have, and that's what I have to live with, I'm going to take it as something I deserve. He never tried to use the same trick. He could have done it also after a while. That's what I would do. Once, twice, 3 times. You see that your wife, you ask for steak, she gives you fish. So I say, please give me fish. Then I know I'm going to come up. There's going to be a steak waiting for me. You learn the trick, but Rav didn't do it. His son did it for him. And when the father, who was so honest, and he, I guess, trained himself to live such a life, turns to his son, he says, is mommy okay? I mean, you asked her for what? And she gave you lentils. I asked for lentils. She says, no, I knew that mommy doesn't treat you right. And when you ask for lentils, you get hummus. So I told her, you want hummus, and then I knew that you're going to end up with lentils. At least you're going to get what you want. Says the Gemara, that instead of Rav telling him, "Oh, you're such a smart boy," instead he gave him Mishaberach. He gave him a piece of Musar, rebuked them, telling him, "Don't ever lie, because when you train yourself to say a lie, even what you may call in English a white lie, or for a purpose or for a higher achievement, you are training yourself to lie, and lying is addicting. And you're going to get in one lie, it's going to bring another lie, and another lie. You're going to end up lying in places that you really, really you should not lie. In today's society, a little lenient when it comes to this type of lying, right? We always say we consider that lying is some type of story which will cause some major damage to someone. That's where you're not supposed to lie, and so on. But the little kind of maisalach, the little kind of stories, maybe it's okay to lie. People lie about their age. Parents lie to their kids. They want ice cream. They say that the ice cream car just passed by and they told us that the ice cream is finished, right? And when they ask, "Did you see my painting I brought from kindergarten?" They say, "Sure." "Who is it?" "Oh, we kept put it away in a very special place because it's so special." Little do the kids know that it's long in the recycling bin, right? That's unfortunately a lie as goes. And from the story of Rav, we see that it's regardless. It's not only because it's going to hurt someone, it's not going to hurt someone. Lying, even in the case where he was trying to be nice to his father and trying to get his father what he wants, the father, Rav, told them, it's not about the lie so much, but rather where one lie in the so-called a half a kosher lie is leading to many others. This is in the Gemara. And here is again the question, so why do you do it? Why did Yaakov do it? The truth is, before I'm going to go into the so-called idea which is explained and the Rebbe talks about from a Hasidic perspective, just to speak for a moment from a practical perspective. And I don't want you to walk away with any halachic guidance how to behave. Every situation has to be discussed individually. But like we saw before, Rashi took the word b'minimo, which means with trickiness, and he translated as chochmasa, cleverness. There is sometimes a thin line between trickiness and cleverness. There's a story they say, I don't know, the storytellers like to share the story that there were two people lying in a hospital. Each one was lying in its bed. One was by the window. The second one was on a bed near him. The one which was far from the window couldn't never get up, couldn't move. And the one sitting by the window, as sick he was still able to, to sit himself down and to look out from the window. And he kept on describing his friend, how beautiful it's out there. The water, oh, look at that. A long group of ducks are now marching out of the water, making their way to the grass. And the weather and the leaves and the flowers and, the colors and the cars and the people. And he kept on giving him all these images, and the person lying on the bed next to him couldn't see and couldn't move. It helped him. He felt very helpful, knowing that one day, if he's only going to keep on going and taking the medicine and taking care of himself, he might be able to walk over and maybe walk outside and see this beautiful world which is being described. But the things happened. The guy by the window eventually never died. And now they switched. The guy next to was taking the side of the window. and he's like pulling himself up, trying to take a pic. And lo and behold, there's a gray wall just facing the room. There's nothing to see, nothing to experience. And I realized that the guy was lying to him, but it wasn't lying. It was lying in a way that actually gave him hope and gave him inspiration and gave him something to look forward by assuming and thinking that who knows, if I can only make it to the window, if I can only give myself another day, I might get somewhere. That's called trickiness motivated by cleverness. In this world that we live in, unfortunately, sometimes the reality is that we have to use trickiness. We have to use trickiness. Sometimes that's the only way to deal with. For example, you have a famous dialogue goes on between saying the truth and preserving the peace. So your wife comes over and says, "No, how do I look today?"
Tell the truth.
You can say the truth, or you can leave, have a peaceful day. If you're saying the truth, it might not end up in peace. I don't say you wife, a wife. That's actually what happened with God and Abraham. We read some stories where even God, so to speak, deviated from the truth in order to preserve peace. Right? You're not supposed to lie, because even if she doesn't look as great as she thinks she looks, but she still looks great, at least in your own eyes she thinks she looks great, so you didn't say a complete lie. You praised her the way she looks at herself, or maybe others consider her very good looking. And you said a certain level of truth, but not your own truth, not the absolute truth. That's what happened even with Yosef and his brothers in the end of the book of Bereshis. When the brothers are fabricating a story, truly fabricating a story, that Jacob said before he died that you should forgive us. Never said it. But is it so wrong? Is it so wrong to assume that that's what Jacob would have wanted? And maybe he was leading to it. I remember I had a friend, he was good in saying this type of truth. Or lies, I'm not sure. Yeah, he knew all the tricks how to say something, but it should not end up a full lie. Once he told us that he always came up with good stories. How he was able to lie, but really not to lie. I'm not sure what ended up being with him. He's probably a good liar. Maybe he's in jail already. So he said his mother sent him to the grocery. And he wasn't interested in going, so he walked downstairs and made a turn around the building, and he came back up. And his mother says, "No, what did you buy?" He says, "Ma, the grocery was closed." And I said quietly, "On Shabbos." Quietly I said, "On Shabbos," meaning the grocery was closed. Not today. Shabbos it was closed, She didn't hear that part, so I wasn't lying, but Actually, Rashi says it regarding Yaakov too. Rashi says when Yaakov responded to his father, when he asked him, "Who are you?" And he said, "Onoichi Esav Bchirecha," I am Esav your son. So on verse 19, so Rashi says he did not say it like you read it, "I am Esav your son." He said, "I am," period. Esav your firstborn. So he wasn't lying. In other words, to say a complete lie, even for the sake of truth or peace, you don't do. Like I said before, because a lie is addicting. And you're going to end up lying in other things which you're not supposed to lie. But lying or so-called deviating from the truth, where the core is true, right? Where the core is true, like he said here, I am, and I am. Essentially, that word I am, in another question, another context, will mean absolute truth. That's what happened with Aaron. How did Aaron make peace between man and wife, husband and wife? We all know the Talmud describes to us Aaron's, ways of doing it by going over to people and tell them, your employee really loves you and he really cares for you, and telling the employer really is interested in you. Like your husband, I heard speaking to somebody else how much he cares for his wife. Really, that's what he said, and that's how he created the situation. Now, it wasn't a lie, because I'm sure every person has a certain something which he likes about the other person, and he highlighted that part. Sometimes it comes with truth in life. Truth versus life. Somebody is never very sick in the hospital. And he says, I want to hear the truth. What did the doctor say? So you're going to go and tell him? Or if you want to give him a chance, you're going to deviate from the truth. You're not going to tell him the reality of his situation, because when the person is going to hear that this is what he was diagnosed with and this is what the doctor thinks, he can get very upset and depressed and not even try to fight it. You want to give him hope. You want to give him the ability to consider that there is a chance. So again, what do? You tell him that there is an opportunity for him. You have to try it. There is medicine. And the truth is, there's other options, there's other medicines, there's all kinds of situations, a different opinion, a different type of treatment, which could help him. So if you told him that they have a chance to live, you didn't lie. And you told him that things are going to be okay, you didn't lie. Even though you just heard from the doctor that things are very not okay. Truth versus life, truth versus peace. This is the type of situations which we know is when we are so-called using what Rashi says over here, b'milmo. What's b'milmo mean? Sneakiness, which means also cleverness. 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 You're thinking what Yaakov did over here. Yaakov did over here, protecting himself from Esav. You got to do what you got to do. You have to live in the reality. But this is the simple way of looking at it, so-called from a legal perspective, from an halachic perspective. But then there is the so-called the Hasidic insight. Hasidism put a big emphasis on truth, emes. But sometimes Hasidism put a big emphasis on deviating from the truth. When they felt that this is the only language that the Yetzer Hara understands. There's a story, actually, a Hasidic story they say about this great Rabbi, Reb Nochem of Chernobyl. Reb Nochem of Chernobyl, he was from the first Hasidic masters. He was a student of the Baal Shem Tov. And people used to actually give him money to distribute for himself, to support his family. But Reb Nochem of Chernobyl, he gave everything away to the needy and the poor. He never left anything to himself. And his house was actually conducted in great poverty. Many years they lived and they were quiet, that's our father, that's the way he conducts himself, this is the way he takes care of the needy and the poor, and no one complained. Then his daughter got engaged, and she was getting ready to get married, and there was no money to marry her. Good. And at some point, the Rabbi decided that's it, no more. He's going to help his rabbi's family. So when he saw one of these wealthy people going to visit the Rebbe, before he entered the room, he told this guy, if you give the Rebbe a check, you tell the Rebbe, this is for your daughter's wedding. Don't let him use it for supporting this guy and that guy. The Rebbe is nothing. He needs to marry his daughter, and you tell him this is for your daughter's wedding. So he did it. Next thing you know, a poor person comes into the office, comes over to the Rebbe, my daughter needs to get married, I don't have any money to give you. He takes out the bundle of rubles he just got and gives it to that person. The Rabbi couldn't take it anymore. He realized now he has to tell his Rebbe. Sometimes, as much the Rebbe knows what he's doing, and but this is not working out. They can't even plan a wedding. They can't plan a wedding. So he tells his Rebbe, this guy walked in, gave you the money for your daughter's wedding. So what happened? So the holy Reb Nochem of Chernobyl says, let me tell you what happened. When he told it to me, I decided to myself, you know what? He's right. You got to take care of yourself also once in a while. I have a daughter, she needs to get married. He gives it for that purpose. I'm going to take all this money and keep it for that purpose. And then the guy walked in and he asked for money. When he walked in, I said to myself, I should really give him something. I should really give him money to marry his daughter. But in the other hand, why should I give him all the money? It's a lot of money. He needs, but there are other people who need. So maybe I should take and divide this money and to give him a part, and to give 5 other people also something of that money. So each one is going to get a little bit in order to support themselves. And then I couldn't know what to decide. And then I realized, you know what? What's going on over here? This is the Yetzer Hara. The evil inclination is suddenly becoming my advisor. He puts himself on the dress of a tzaddik, and he starts giving me all kind of ideas. Divide it, more people are going to be supported, don't give it all to one person. And I said, this is not right. This is not right. When I was planning to take the money for myself to marry my daughter, I didn't think that maybe I should try to divide it between 5 people. I thought that's what she needs, we're going to make a wedding, so let me use it. And now, when somebody else is asking, suddenly I'm coming with all kind of ideas, so to speak, spiritual ideas, so to speak, ideas which is motivated by spiritual guidance to help more people, and this idea and that idea, that doesn't look right. The Yetzer Hara put on a coat of a Yetzer Tov, and he's trying to confuse me. I felt I got to get him out of here. And this is why I took this money, Reb Nochem of Chernobyl, and I said, no, I'm going to give it all to this person. Chassidus says that the story of Yaakov and Esav is a story of our lives. We all have the Esavs in our lives, the evil inclination. And he is so tricky. And he is so tricky. And he works with such crooked ways and smart ways. Making a picture of something, so to speak, is holy and great and needy, trying to trap us in his plans, in his desires. This is what you should do, this is what you should do, and this is what you should do. You think that the evil inclination, actually, Hasidim say that originally there's a Hasidic saying. To one of my teachers, he said that originally, everything has an icon. What was the icon of the evil inclination? How did it look originally? You know the picture that you have on poison? Mm-hmm. Looks like, that, actually now it's in the neighborhoods for Halloween still, right? It looks like a skull.
Skull and
No,
crossbones.
kind of horns coming out.
No, the horns are different, that's in Redmond. In Bellevue, everybody knows when it says, when they sell poison for the mice, they have this image here.
You just said, skull and crossbones.
Skull and crossbones. That's right. That's the icon of poison. And that was originally the icon of the Yetzer Hara. That's what he had. That was that's what he looked like. He put an icon on himself. But then he realized, hey, Meshuggah, nobody's going to listen to me. If I'm coming with this image, nobody's going to listen to me. That's not a good icon. That's not a good logo. If I want to be able to get into people's life, I gotta change it. I can't look like poison. Instead, he went and he bought himself a beautiful talus with a black kapata, with a gartel, a nice Bersolino hat, and he says, that's my icon. I want to look like a chassid. If I want to get into your lives, I got to look like a chassid. That's called being tricky. And he says, you know what? The Yetzer Hara comes and says, you really want to daven like a man, don't go to the minyan. They go too fast. They start 7:15, 8 o'clock they finish. No, you sleep in a little. So then you can daven at home, word by word, with all the proper kavanah. Don't go to shul. In shul, David Normatov is screaming, and this guy is saying, and this thing is this. All kinds of ideas, excuses. This is all coming from the Yetzer Hara, the evil inclination. You want to write a check to tzedakah. And the Yetzer Hara comes and says, no. For sure tomorrow you're going to be worth more. Hold on. If you write a check now, it's going to be $100. You're getting dividends, you're getting an increase. Wait with the tzedakah. Next month, it's going to become more, and then you're going to be give. This is the Yetzer Hara. He knows by next month you're not going to want to give anymore. You're going to have new expenses, new ideas. You want to give now. You want to daven? Get up to daven now. But he is not telling us not to daven. Who is going to listen to him? If he comes dressed up with the icon of poison, who is going to listen to him? You want to lock the door? Get out of here. I don't want to talk to you. So he comes b'mirma. He comes with trickiness. Chassidus says if he comes with trickiness, you have to deal with them tricky too. You have to work with them in a tricky manner. That's what Yaakov is teaching us. What do? You sit down and you make a table with herring, with vodka, with cholent, with meat. The Yetzer Hara thinks, a bunch of peasants are getting together, they're going to have a party. He doesn't know this is not a party, this is a farbrengen. This is a kiddush. We're going to sit here, we're going to say l'chaim, we're going to share stories, we're going to share insights. This is just a cover-up. We are tricking him. A Jew goes to work. Everyone goes to work. The Yetzer Hara thinks he goes to work because he wants to make a few dollars, so he lets him. The Yetzer Hara doesn't tell you not to go to work. Go. Because then you like everybody else. And you trick him. You don't tell him, I'm going to work so I can have money to give stock and to pay for my children's and grandchildren's tuition so they can go to a good Jewish school. You don't tell him any of this. You trick him. I'm just going to work because I want to go to work. This is what Yaakov is telling Esav. The whole story, why it happened in such a way, was simply to introduce what is the key in fighting Esav, the Yetzer Hara. He works with trickiness. We're going to work with trickiness. Our trickiness is called cleverness. It's called chachma. It's called bechachmasa. This is what Rashi says. This is what Rashi says. That's our lifestyle. That's how we behave. And this is the lesson of this Parsha. Got to be smart, utilize all the channels. Let them think that we are a part of them, and then do them. With success, like Yaakov did. L'chaim u'levracha. Have a good Chodesh, everybody. Have a good night. 2 days Rosh Chodesh, Thursday and Friday.